Hello.
Hello.
5:05, we did it.
Woo-hoo. On time, people. On
2 days
time.
late and perfectly on time.
2 days late and perfectly on time. But they don't know we're 2 days late. Does anybody
Yes, they
know?
do, because we wrote it in the description.
That's true. We did. We told everybody because we can't lie. We just are look, it's what you see is what you get. The mess, the awesomeness. Awesome
Dogs
mess.
barking.
I'm like trying to put together mess and awesomeness by awesome mess. The awesome mess that is us.
It's okay. And honestly, if this is completely unrelatable to you, if you can't understand mess, chaos, and like doing the best you can with what you got, then I'm not sure you're in the right place.
Then keep scrolling.
Yeah.
Keep going.
You've gotten lost and you need a different map.
Yeah, this is not your place. But if you either know us, feel us, or understand us on any level, then this is your place. And welcome to The Dish with Linda and Trish. And we are your hosts. My name is Patricia. My name is Patricia Rivera-Wolfson, and I am a life strategist and energy practitioner who helps people simplify transformation through the Me First method. And I usually work things through with my bestie right over here, Linda Krause-Barnett.
I love the title of your bestie. I am Linda Krause-Barnett. I am an author. I am an educator, and I help you spark your soul. I help you remember. I help you become the creative visionary that you were meant to be. And if you are a creative visionary, then you know that it's a lot of responsibility. It's the most beautiful gift wrapped in the messiest gift wrap on the planet.
Messiest package.
And we are going to detangle all of that. Today, we're going to talk about lifing and adulting.
And please, if you're here, say hi. Let us know where you're watching us from, because I know we've got people all over the world that watch us. So let us know where you're watching and say hi to us and tell us you miss us, because we like to hear those pretty things.
That's right. And if you are a mom, if you are a woman, if you are any gender and you're finding things difficult to navigate, if just even the easy things feel hard and the hard things feel hard.
Actually, it's more appropriate for our channel that if the easy things feel hard, follow us.
For sure. Right?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Linda and I may or may not have ADHD, depending on who you ask.
Actually, I think that when you go to the dictionary, our pictures are there rather than any kind of definition. It's like, please see Patricia Rivera-Wolfson and Linda Krause-Barnett for further details.
Yes, at least our specific type of ADHD, because there's many. So sometimes the easy things are hard for us, and it's why we talk about making hard things easy, because the easy things can be challenging for those of us with an executive dysfunction. But life is actually really challenging the last, since the new year. Since forever, really. If we're really gonna, go down to brass tacks, I would say 2020. But okay, we're not gonna go back that far. Let's just talk about the present, because we are learning about the presence and the power of now. So now, I think so.
I'm not.
Right now, things feel intense. I don't know about you. We haven't talked about the full moon. We're not doing broadcasts or forecasts or any of that necessarily. But I will tell you that someone who talks about the full moon and doesn't always pay attention to when it's full, unless all my ducks are in a row and I'm paying attention. But this particular one, and I don't know if this is true for anybody else, please comment if it's true. It feels like I got hit by a 2x4, and it was like a 2x4 to try and knock out all of the emotions that I have been trying to hold back. From the foreseeable past, anything that I've been holding back. And I did hear, because it is a full moon in Cancer, that was going to be the case. But I tend not to pay attention to those things because I'm like, people like Mercury retrograde, be careful. I'm like, sometimes sure. But let me tell you, I don't know if it's the moon. I just like to have something to blame, so might as well be the moon. But this week has been particularly challenging. I don't know about you, Linda. It's only Wednesday. It's only Wednesday, and it's already been like, I'm like, what?
It's definitely been harder for you than me, but in different ways.
Yeah.
Not that it's been harder for you. It's just that what's been hard for me has been different. And for me, what's come up is noticing the pattern of what I make difficult or find difficult. Not necessarily that I make it difficult, but I really tried to start the month of January with so much intention and so much planning to like really set myself up for a different level of success this year than I've had in the past few years, and trying to say like support myself, be there for myself. What does this look like? And I'm realizing that if I continue to allow things to be resistant and difficult, then I will get what I get. Like I have to find ways around it. I have to find tools. My intention and my faith have to be stronger than my fear and my resistance. And so that's coming up. It's like, when you stir and you get things from the bottom up to the top. For me, it's that in a different way. Like yours is an emotional and mine is it's emotional too, but mine is more like,
well, we just have different things that we're dealing with. And I think that's the point, and why we wanted to talk about it on today's episode of The Dish, because as we said, in the description, if it's true for us, it's probably true for you on some level. And I really think, and I talk about the moon and I talk about the stars and I talk about those things, and I use those things as information only. Like I use everything for information. But I like to have it as a guidance point sometimes, because sometimes I'm like, it could be a contributor to certain factors of feel like the way you feel certain things. And so, but regardless, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's the moon. It doesn't matter if it's your mother. It doesn't matter if it's the dog. It doesn't matter if you're on your period or, it all matters. But at the same time, what matters the most is how we navigate through it, right? How do you address it? And I think one of the missions I think we have right now as like humans on the planet right now is to look at all those things that have been making us uncomfortable, looking at all those things that are hard for us, looking at all those things that, we are like kind of like scraping to figure out, get through, right? And realizing like, okay, what do I need to do to get through this? Who do I need to get through this? What do I need to get through this, right? And what tools or strategies or structures can I put into place to help me in this process? Linda and I have talked a lot about showing up, and sort of the struggles about showing up, sure, in our business, and what we talk about showing up online or showing up in your business and whatever that means at a business meeting, or just trying to take a leadership role or stepping into sort of a more confident version of yourself. And that can be really difficult when you're having a rough time, or when you're not feeling very confident, or when you have all these things going on in your life that is keeping you from sort of like getting it together in order to show up. So like Linda and I talk all the time about like, what do you do and how can you show up like no matter what? Like that was the title, right? And as we found out yesterday, sometimes no matter how hard you try, you aren't going to show up in the way you hoped or in the way you intended. Because life may have other plans. And that was kind of what we went through yesterday, Hi, my parents are online watching us right now. Hi, guys.
I was listening. I was on a call. I was on a Zoom call the other day with one of my mentors, and she shared this analogy, and I want to share it because I think that it just came up in my mind, and I think because it came up because it's relevant to our discussion, and it's relevant to you and I, and this concept that you and I talk about all the time. It's like we want to show up. We have so much to give. We have so much to share. We have so much love, so much experience. We've gone through so many things, and all we want to do is like show up. We really, our hearts and for each other, we do show up. We make the time to show up for each other, right? But it's like, how do we extend that out into the bigger world? How do I be, the person I am to Trish on a broader scale? Because to me, if I could do that, if I could be who I am with her and to her, like to the world, then I think that's me showing up as my best self. So
oh my God, and what a gift to the world.
Right.
Like,
and
really, when you think about it.
And Scott used to say this all the time. Scott used to be like, if you two could be who you are when you're together, if you could be that everywhere you showed up, like the world would see what I see. And he was so on point, and he was on point. But so here was the analogy. The analogy is like, imagine this glass tower, and it goes as high as you want it to go, like infinity and beyond, right? And you are born, and you're born at the bottom of the tower. And then as you age and as you gain consciousness, perspective, awareness, knowledge, experience, those are the, like, it's not a wealth ladder. It's a consciousness ladder, right? It's like, as we begin to master ourselves and our world, we kind of get higher and higher until we're close and we depart and go to the next level of the game, wherever that may be. But it was so interesting what she said about that, because I was able to visualize myself going up this beautiful glass ladder. But here's where she showed me something. I guess it's like, when you're like, I know that, but why does it sound so different coming out of your mouth? But she said,
sometimes you need it in a different frequency.
Yeah. So no matter if you're at the bottom of that tower, because the tower doesn't move around, the tower is your pillar. It is where it is. So even though it looks different from the bottom to the top, the view is the same. The only thing that changes is the perspective. Yes. So like if there's grass and whatever the view is from the first floor is the same thing you're going to see from the 87,000th floor, except you're going to see it from a different perspective. Things are going to look smaller. You're going to see wider. You're going to see more expansiveness because you're higher up. And I thought that was so interesting, because here's me constantly my whole life chasing, I don't even know what, but I have been chasing for 49 years.
Just running. Maybe you should just say you're running,
like, it's gonna,
not chasing.
I just need to find it. I need to find it. And it's like, what are you looking for? And really, if I stopped running and looked inside, that's what I'm looking for. But what I realize is no matter how high up I go, I could change my perspective on any floor. I'm still looking at the same beauty or the same chaos or the same. And there was just this, like, we show up, and I tell you this all the time, like, I'm so proud of you, because even on the hard days, you may not show up for the world, but you show up for your kids, you show up for me, you show up for, you get out of bed, you try. And to me, trying is a version of showing up. And we don't give it enough freaking attention, because it's like, we're all looking for the big things, but showing up and cooking, conversing, calling, doing, whatever it is, however you can exist in the moment is a version of showing up that needs to be like honored, I think.
I love that you said that. And I appreciate both on your, focus of it, or you're directing it in the part that you directed to me. I thank you, but also for everyone else, because I think what you're saying is exactly right on. And if I can open it up even a little from that trying aspect, because the thing that I do most in my life is try. It's like the one thing I do is fucking try my hardest at whatever that might be, regardless of what that looks like on the outside, on whether or not people see that I'm trying. But I think most people see that I'm trying, and that's not the hard part. The hard part is my own brain, and I think this is true for many people, my own brain being like, you're trying, but not succeeding. And so there was a shift in the language that has happened for me personally over the last like year and a half. And Linda and I have started talking about this and shifting from that perspective of trying and shifting it into practice, right? And so instead of like, and I still like the trying because I am a person who tries, and I'm proud of myself of being a person who tries. But in the practicing, like if you're struggling with something, and even when you said like trying to get out of bed, like there's days that are hard that you don't want to get out of bed. And for whatever it is that you have weighing on you, there may be days. And instead of like, I'm going to try to do better, in my head, I'm like, I'm going to practice this. I'm going to practice getting up. I'm going to practice cooking when I feel like crap. I'm going to practice, doing some work, even if I can't get my brain around it. I'm going to practice, and the things that we practice each day, like if I can't get through something, the practice that I implement then helps me to the next level, which very often it might be a phone call to Linda, or it might be a phone call to someone who has more knowledge than me in something that I'm really struggling with, right? Like we all face things that are hard, and it's so difficult to sometimes ask for help. And what's most difficult, also a whole other conversation we had yesterday, is even to know how to ask for help or how to even know what to ask for. Like in a lot of my personal challenges, people are like, just ask if you need anything. And a lot of times I'm like, I don't even know what to ask for. Like when you're lost, when you're like in the midst of all new things, or your life is completely transforming for whatever reason, you've lost your job, you lost a person, you lost yourself, a marriage, whatever, like, and you find yourself going like, I don't know who I am, what I am, or where I'm going. I think that implementing the idea of practicing showing up however you are in that moment, like whatever that might look like. Yesterday we didn't end up coming online because a million things happened, not literally, like just kept happening all day. But we showed up with the intention, and we still, and that's the thing, like you show up with the intention to just do your best, whatever that looks like, and know that that is enough. And that is enough phrase drives me crazy, but it really is so poignant, because you need to know if you show up, however you show up, however that looks like, the fact that you are present and trying on some level, that's the thing that matters, because it means that you are showing up for yourself.
Yep. And that's why I think this year, the words I selected for my words of the year, if I think really like, if I ask myself like why those words, and it's a perfect, what you're saying is like so perfectly aligned. Like this year, my words were clarity, courage, and pleasure. And here's like an example of what this looks like. Making money in my company has been difficult for me, and it's been one of the ways in which I truly have been mean to myself. It's been one of the ways in which I have not honored my gifts and talents, and instead I've belittled and berated myself because my value, I was taught that how much you make is directly correlated to how valuable you are, and no money means no value. That's just something I internalized, who knows when, doesn't matter. So every day getting up to go to my business felt hard. So, those moments where it's like a pivotal decision needs to be made here. The kids have left for school, my husband's left for work, and I'm standing in my living room. I go to the right, I'm going to go back to bed. I go to the left, I go to my office. They are equidistant. And right now I have a big choice to make, because
that's a tough one.
Is go to bed, put the blankets over my head, and be like, it seems I don't want to go in there and fail anymore. I don't want to go to my office and face what I haven't done or what I don't know how to do. Like,
well, I think that's it, right? It's that lack of clarity.
Well, I was just going to say what I'm trying to accomplish with the words that I've chosen is like, it's okay. What can I do that will give me pleasure? What can I do that will feel like working on my documentary feels pleasurable? And it's okay that that it may not correlate to a dollar sign. What it's going to correlate to is an expansiveness of me showing up in the things I love, and who knows where that could lead. And maybe I don't want to go into my office because I'm scared, which has been my pattern. I'm scared to show up because I'm still trying to figure out how to show up. And so with a little bit of courage, I can show up even imperfectly. And by showing up imperfectly, I'm gaining clarity, because clarity comes from the action.
Absolutely.
And then it's like, those 3 words can help me go to my office and practice showing up another day as like open to possibilities, instead of living in the past belief of failures. It's like, but what could I do today? What could I create today? And creation is really where your value is.
Yes, and it is in really, like, I mean, I agree that, you know, creation is where some of our value lies, but I even think that, like, our value really lies in how we connect with other people. And so it becomes the creation, because the creation is what we then offer other people, right? Like, and I think that that's what we've been missing, you know, in humanity, is the idea that we are inherently valuable. We are inherently valuable with our existence, because this is the vessel of God's love. Okay, that's what it is. You have a vessel of God's love. I have a vessel of God's love. We all have a vessel of God's love. And we can choose to use that vessel to continue to spread that love to other people through our own unique lenses, gifts, expertise, you know, and the exchange that happens when you are really showing up in your true fullness, with your gifts as they are, without like, here is my purpose is philanthropy. Well, yes, maybe that's great, and I want to be a philanthropist with the millions I make, right? Because that's what I would do. But in the meantime, your value, like, is in how you connect, how you uplift, how you support yourself and others. Like, we have to support ourselves, because, like, if I'm the vessel of God's love, I have to take care of the vessel and make sure that I am, you know, utilizing the vessel and cleansing the vessel and allowing for the vessel to express itself as clearly as possible in the frequency that is most connected to my instrument, right? Like, you know, if I'm a actual instrument and I'm a saxophone, then I need to make sure that I am cleaning my saxophone, that I am, you know, appropriately taking care of it, so that I can make the tone it is meant to make the sound, make the frequency that it's meant to make, to add its particular frequency, sound, and beauty to the symphony that is life, right? That is what we're supposed to do. It's like, here's my song, here's the thing that brings me the most joy, here is my instrument, tuned to the highest, like, place that I can have it, right? Like, this is, if my instrument is tuned to its highest place, then what comes out of this instrument is pure essence of love and light and beauty, right? Like, as intended by the creator, whatever you believe in, right? And if each person, I'm like smacking my mic, and if each person does that, you know, then we are all those vessels. And I really truly believe that we can, you know, sort of like figure out an actual exchange system that works, so that we can each, you know, like the trees aren't paying each other. The squirrels don't pay the trees for the acorns, right? Like, there's, I think inherently we have this value, we have this light and love that we're supposed to put out there and express, and we stop it because we're keep trying to, like, fit into whatever structures, you know, like, I'm the saxophone trying to be the flute, or you're a guitar trying to be a drum set, you know, and it's like, you're not a drum set, you're not a guitar, You know, you're a flute, to play that flute and own it and be the beautiful high, you know, noted instrument that you are, you know, or be the tuba and be that low bass, beautiful like instrument that holds, you know, that frequency for people. Like we have to know our instrument and love our instrument and practice our instrument, you know. And for me personally, Linda and I have talked about this, but I think I grew up with this warped sense of like, if I had to practice, then I must suck. And I think that that kind of like embedded in my brain and how I looked at things, that if I couldn't just do it, if I wasn't amazing the first try, then it must be because it's not meant to be and it's not my gift. And I don't know who else feels that way or has felt that way in their life, but I'm here to tell you, practice is what you need. And if you love something and you're passionate about something, and for whatever reason it's not working out for you in the way that you wished it would, then just practice doing it in a way that makes you feel good, and forget about what it's supposed to look like, and forget about it trying to bring you money, and forget about what it means about your purpose or your life. Just hone in on the things that bring you joy and share that joy with everyone you can. And I really, truly believe you will begin to see a difference in your life. Because when I focus on that, when I focus on, I'm going to go out there and be myself and help somebody and be the crazy, like, you know, optimistic, ridiculous person that I am, inevitably something awesome happens that day. Or I meet somebody who says, oh my God, I'm so glad I met you. You have no idea how much I needed to hear that. And that is me allowing my instrument to be used as the vessel that it's meant to be. Like, we don't have to know why we do what we do. We just have to be connected to what we're doing for the purpose of connection, for the purpose, like if it feels good to you, keep doing it. I mean, that was literally our topic last week, but I don't know. It's just, I think it bears repeating, you know, it bears repeating, because I think that's where people need a little bit of a push to keep going, keep practicing. Don't give up on yourself.
And I think it's also a thing of like always trying to make a new, like I did that, now I got to do this. I did that, now I got to do this, with what I think is a level of showing up also is connecting the dots. Like I did, I looked through all my pictures starting with January 1st of 2024 to December 31st of 2020.
Oh, I love this. You were telling, yes.
And I was trying to figure out like, okay, it was a learning curve for me. Like, what did I do? What didn't I do? How can I make this year even greater than last year? And it was really interesting because while I was going through, I had videos of me doing my job, doing my lives. And then I had like some of the graphics that I've captured and things I create. And then everything else was my family. Like everything else was my family. And so what I realized is that this year, with my daughter being a junior and having like, you know, this year and next year left at the house,
I don't even want to talk about that. Let's not talk about that.
I'm showing up in a way as a mom that is deeper than I've ever shown up before. That is more present than I've ever been before. That is more. I'm creating experiences with my kids in a deeper way than I ever have before, and I'm allowing myself to not rush through. Like, okay, we can talk for 5 minutes. I got to go to my office, or, you know, like, okay, I got to do this, I got to do that. But to really say like, no, we're sitting here, we're sharing, you're telling stories, we're giggling, we're laughing, and to just squeeze that for everything, knowing that it's fleeting. And so it was like, okay, I may not have shown up as a boss babe. Maybe that contributes to why financially it was I didn't kill it this year, but also I did show up as a mom, and I did show
and
up
you killed it there.
And I did a good job. Now there's still room for improvement, but I if that's how I showed up this year, if that's where I was present, then I can't just say like, okay, great. Well, that's that year. And now 2025, I'm going to focus on business. Like, I get to bring that into this year. I get to give myself credit for what, you know, it's like when we build experiences in the past, there's even the bad stuff. We're supposed to extract the lessons from the bad. We're supposed to bring the memories from the good. And all of that is part of the pot. It's part of the ingredients in the soup that creates the year after and the day after. And the time that comes next is not supposed to be void of the challenges, the experience, the love. It's all supposed to come with you. The only thing that you don't want to come with you are the things that did not serve you. And even from those, you still extract the lessons. So it's like, okay, this year I can do better in my business, but you know what? I'm going to learn what I learned from being a more aware mom. I'm still going to bring that with me because it's something I enjoyed, or I'm still going to, I don't want to give that up. I want to bring it in and add to it. And it's also a matter of capacity. Like, there's this ideology too of like, it's like an elementary school teacher. I guess because I was a teacher, this is my example, but it's like, if you're an elementary school teacher, you teach all the subjects. It doesn't freaking matter what you're good at. You teach everything. Their kids are with you all day. But then middle school and high school is more specialized, right? So they still teach all day, but they focus on their area of expertise. And it's like when you go to a general MD versus like
a specialist,
like someone who deals with a part of your body.
Yeah.
And I think that we as moms are expected to be generalists, like show up for all the things, all the fucking time, excuse my language, all the time, show up for all the things, do it the best, be the best all the time for all the people all the time. That's what you need to do. And so when we fall short, we're like, well, we suck, but we don't suck.
It feels like we suck every day.
Like, I know, honestly, it feels like we suck every day. It feels like we suck every single day. And the truth is that so much of that is because we have not been told enough. As much as the intention of the people who love us has been wonderfully loving, you can't know what you don't know. And there's very little example of like the conversations you and I have behind closed doors of like, you got up, everybody's fed, everybody's dressed with clean clothes ish. Everybody.
That's true today. Not true every day, but yes.
There's food, there's a home, there's a car. Like, they got to where they needed to be. And,
yeah, you have to count your wins and there's always a win. Like, even on terrible days. And to yesterday, like Linda can attest that yesterday was a really tough day for me personally because of my own stuff that we all go through. And there was still wins in the day, and I encourage you. And one of them being that Linda helped me get through it. That's a win. Even if nothing else happens for you, if you have somebody that can just at least be like, I'm sorry, or like, I'm here for you, that's great. And you may not have that. And if you don't, then, that's the work. Well, definitely hang with us, but also that's your job of 2025 is to try and find a community wherever you can, and whether it be in person or online, or, a professional that can help you connect, because connection with other humans is, I think, one of the single most important things for our survival, for our essence, to get through anything. We need each other like we do. You may not love everybody, but you need somebody. Everybody needs somebody. And I think that that's what we need to work on too, is I try to be there for who needs me. I know Linda does. And if everybody kind of tries to be present for everyone, what are you laughing at?
I
see you laughing already and I'm distracted. What are you crying
You said
over?
Like, if you don't have what we have. And I was thinking one of the gifts that our relationship brings me that I'm about to like say to you guys, if you don't have someone who does this for you, it is something you could do for yourself. We're just lucky that we could do this for each other, but because it's more fun. But Trish and I have this gift in our friendship of noticing, like, we look for magic even when things are in the crapper.
Oh, that's so
we
true.
Look for like signs, synchronicities, angel numbers, magic. We're like constantly in the belief that we don't know what's happening right now. The world is turning inside out, upside down, but we're going to look for a blue feather today, or we're going to and it's so funny because I posted a video on my Facebook page and I linked a YouTube video of an episode of Soul Seekers.
Oh, yes.
And in
The
that
champagne
episode of Soul
bubbles, the
Seekers,
body champagne.
yes, it's a body champagne episode, but it was so cute because so Trish and I are sitting like next to each other, and there's Petra in the middle of us, and we're looking at each other. It's actually really weird when I saw it, but it's so funny. As Petra's talking, I look up into the tree. I had forgotten what I saw. So when I was rewatching it, I was like, wow, that was a big reaction, Linda. And I literally went, oh. Like it was like my whole, you could tell there was this like thing come over me. And then you flip your head, you see what I see. You go crazy, and suddenly we're like in another dimension, and we saw a bluebird, and we allowed what we believe was the magic of a bluebird to like transform the moment. It's actually the most beautiful moment in the video, but it's like things like that, and it's definitely expanded. I've always had that in my life. She's always had that in her life. But because we both really, that's one of our
magnified.
Things, it's magnified.
It's like 100x when the two of us are together.
Yeah, I mean, like, and Trish was struggling yesterday, and it was killing me because it's like, you know, your person, you want to just like rescue her, but you can't because she's got to go through it. But she had a magic moment, and it was like, I say this to offer you that you don't know. We only know what we've experienced so far. And sometimes the day feels heavy, and sometimes we're like, but you don't know what the next second might offer. You don't know who might knock at your door in the next moment. You don't know what's possible. You only know what you've experienced before. And so when things are hard, allow there to be, even if it's tiny and you're like struggling to find it, but allow yourself to leave just a little space, or maybe a lot of space, to say like, I wonder what magic God could bring into my life today. Things feel hard. And you were intentional. You said, what do I do? That was a question you put out into the universe.
Like, what do I do?
And like,
I won't go into the story, but I will fill you guys in on the story. But like I did, I literally had someone knock at my door, and it was about, it was about something that I needed to need to address in my own life, and it was just kind of an out of the blue thing. And here's the thing, like the actual thing that happened, the person knocking at my door and the questions that they had, it didn't give me the solution that I was looking for, specifically that Linda and I were talking about. But what it did was it kind of shook things up, right? Like it kind of took me out of where I was, because it was one of those like, what? That was so weird. Like it was such an odd moment that it took me out of the frequency of like, sort of despair a little bit, and it put me in a curiosity, which is something that, you know, is very important.
Possibility,
possibility, curiosity, potential. Like it put me in a different perspective. And even if nothing comes from that moment from that experience, but what that brought was, it shook my brain a little bit, and I reached out to a few people, and I started to kind of look at things from a perspective and address things that I wouldn't have otherwise addressed without 100%. This little nudge from the universe.
But only if you see it as that.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say. And what Linda and I really want to impress upon you with this particular discussion is like, just make it be whatever you need it to be, so that it's better than what it is. That's the best piece of advice I can give you. Like, make it be like the awesome magic that it could be, or the awesome possibility, or like just, even the things that we talk about all the time with the moon or the universe, or, the signs, and, you could choose to ignore everything that happens. You could choose to just be like, that's just a feather, or that's just a car, or that's just a whatever. Or you can choose to look at things and say, that's a message, right? If you believe it's a message, it's a message. It doesn't matter if it's an actual message. There's no test. There's nothing that's going to happen that's going to, unless it brings you negativity or despair, and unless it doesn't work for you, like, then why not think of the best option? Why not leave yourself open to the potential miracle? Why isn't it a sign from your grandmother? Why couldn't it be God handing you a gift? Why can't it be the amazing million possibilities of goodness, instead of it having to be some sort of curse, instead of it having to be an omen, instead of it having to be, evidence that you suck, right? A terrible thing that happens to you, and I speak from experience, you can look at it from the perspective of, and look, everybody has their own experiences going through their own things, and you absolutely need to take time to validate and honor whatever it is that you're going through. And I am not trying to sugarcoat anything. Trust me, that is not who I am or what I'm trying to do. But what I can do and what I want to offer you is that no matter what terrible thing, no matter what challenge you're going through your life, if there's even a tiny, tiny remote possibility that you can shift your perspective for you to be able to look at it as a potential stepping stone to a miracle, to a potential gift that is yet to be unwrapped, to a potential step for a possibility, for a dream that you have. Like if it could be that, as opposed to evidence that life sucks, why not look at it as evidence of potential possibility and support and unending love from the universe? I just think if you have the option, go with the one that's going to make you feel good. Don't go with the one that makes you feel despair and lose all hope in life. That's how you're going to be able to show up, right? You can show up if you think, okay, this is really hard, but if I practice and I show up every day, it's because something good is coming. I can feel it. That's a much better perspective. It gives you a much better possibility, right? It gives you a lot more energy.
Yeah.
A lot more, like a higher frequency than thinking,
exactly,
that you're headed to your death,
doom.
Or doom.
Then, because Trish and I have always been here to give you resources, outside of us, even like you have us as resources, but then you have, like, if we learn something from someone, we're more than willing to share it. And there's two people that I want to mention right now. And one is this lady I follow on YouTube. Her name is Cynthia Sue Larson. And she works very much in like quantum. She works in Mandela effect. But one of the things she has said and taught me, and I really have tried to stay devoted to it, is her mantra, her thing that she says on every YouTube episode at the beginning and at the end, and talks about throughout her beingness, is her question to the universe. She'll say, remember, always ask the universe, how good can it get?
Oh, I love that.
And I love that, because it's like, even if things are great, how good can it get? And if things are bad, how good can it get? Like, the question is always, God, how good can it get? And why not see the possibility in how good it could get, no matter where you're standing, because it's asking for, like, I claim that I don't know everything, and that I'm curious, how good can it get? And that becomes the intention you set out into the universe. And I know the other thing I wanted to mention was someone that actually Trish and I have interviewed on Soul Seekers before, but Joanna Hunter is someone we both are connected with and talk to all the time. And she did a card reading for me online a few months back. And the card that came up was like struggle or something. And she was like, you make things hard, which is appropriate for this show. She's like, you make everything hard. The easy things are hard. The hard things are hard. Things are hard. And she said, so what I want you to do, Linda, she said, is ask yourself, she said, one of the 5 top things she tells herself, one of her top 5 like lessons, and she's guided by has a team called Skylar that works with her. And she says one of the 5 biggest lessons that has been imparted onto her is asking herself, if this was easy, what would it look like?
I love that so much.
And I'm telling you, I cannot tell you since that card reading how many times I have been in a situation that feels really difficult. Now, I'm not saying the solution dropped down, but what I'm saying is that I have asked myself, like, if this was easy, what would it look like? And you can feel just the, like, I don't know, there's this.
I forget to ask myself that. That's so, I could have done that yesterday.
I know.
And look, here we are to show you, like, even we do this, we talk about this, we have all the tools and strategies, but sometimes in the moment, it is completely normal to revert back to a space, like, you know, mentally and emotionally, where you are unable to think of those tools and strategies.
But the more tools in your tool belt, the more things you can fix.
Yes. I mean, I'll tell you, one of the things, and I have to share with you, when I'm really in a panic, when I'm really having a rough day, and I'll share this in the sense of, like, if I'm having a rough day where I'm really scared that, like, something big is happening or things are out of control and I feel my anxiety, tapping is one of the things that I do all the time, you know, and I'm happy to talk more about it if you guys are interested, but I only do my version of tapping. I'm not a professional tapper. I just hit the spots. And honestly, this is those spots too. You'll feel good. Anyway, I'm going to show you my, like, the basic tapping technique, and you don't even have to do all the words. Okay. And any professional tappers, you want to come at me, go ahead. I'm just doing it, like, because I used to do this for my kids as they were going to sleep. And if I'm in a panic and I don't know what to say, you know, and I don't know what to do, and I'm really, like, the anxiety's kicking in and it's big, panic attack, I start with tapping, right? So the first thing is this one, right? And if you have it in you, and if you want to remember to say something, you can literally just be like, even though I suck and I cannot get my shit together, I completely love and respect myself. That's the most important piece with this tapping thing, is that
even though I can't get my shit together, I love and respect myself.
Yeah.
I'll echo you, okay?
Yeah, okay. Even though everything feels really hard right now, I completely love and accept myself.
Even though things feel extremely hard right now, I completely love myself. I know there was more.
And accept. And accept. You got to accept
and
yourself.
Accept myself. See? Yeah. That was almost like subconsciously intentional.
For sure. Okay. So even though everything that appears easy is especially difficult for me, I completely love and accept myself.
Even things that are easy appear extremely difficult for me, I love and accept myself.
This is like tapping for ADHD. Okay. Even
though I can't even remember.
Even though I feel like a terrible mom, I completely love and accept myself.
Even though I sometimes feel like a terrible mom, I love and accept myself. Always, in all ways.
Yes. And so I want to encourage you, like, do this and just go through it. Go through all the things.
I have to go to another spot. This hurts.
Yes, I know. We are going to another spot. You don't have to be here for this long, okay? But this is like the love and accept myself part. That's the only thing that I try to usually keep here, because that's like where, I don't know why. Ask the tapping people. I'm just this is what works for me. I'm just going to share with you, okay? So then the other places are like, you have the top of the, you know, the top of the eyebrows here, okay? And then over here, I got to take my glasses off, okay? It's like over here, okay? And then just under the eye here.
Where all my puffy spots are.
Yeah. And then under.
Even though my eyes are puffy, I love and accept myself.
Yeah, there you go. Even though I look my age, I love and accept myself.
Even though my skin isn't as tight as it used to be, I love and accept myself.
Even though my boobs are saggy and I need to wear special bra to keep them up, I completely love and accept myself. I don't wear a special bra. I just didn't know what it's a regular bra, but they're still saggy.
Even though her boobs are bigger than mine, I love and accept myself.
Okay. Like, listen, guys, I'm telling you, the idea of this, okay, first of all, the idea of tapping is that the lesson that I took most from it is you are touching certain points, right? And if you are touching these points, you are sending a signal to your body that if you have time to do this, your body knows you're not in danger, right? So if you are cycling through thoughts, perseverating, panicking, right? And you want to try and shift your body, this helps. It has helped me and may or may not help you. I'm simply sharing my tool. And you don't have to say anything. Like we were saying stuff, and you can say what we're actually saying. You can say your own thing. But the idea is that you want to embrace and accept whoever you are in this moment, no matter what it looks like. And then you can slowly, if you decide to talk through the tapping, you can also slowly like encourage yourself, shift your perspective and allow yourself to sort of go through the process that you would with a child who feels bad. For example, like if you had a child saying, Mom, I feel terrible because I didn't study and I failed and I must be stupid, right? So you talk to them and say, okay, even though I didn't study and I failed, I completely love myself, right? And then you go to the next level. I could study a little bit more next time. I have time to grow. I have time to learn. I can practice my study skills, right? Like you slowly start moving yourself from that place that feels terrible into a place that feels better. That's the whole point.
I mean, isn't that like the goal of humaning?
Like humaning, yes, you would think.
Yeah, that's the goal here, guys. Don't feel good, try to feel good. Things are hard, try to make them feel good. Sometimes and the thing is, we don't have to fix ourselves, and we also don't have to I used to be an all or nothing girl. My grandpa used to tell me this all the time. He used to be like, you never know where the gray lies. You never look for the gray. You're always in the black or the white. Like you need to go into the gray. He always told me that. In French, it sounds a little different, but and he was right, because it was like I either feel like I nailed it or I failed it.
Yeah.
I nailed it or I failed it. That was really good. There was never
really
like,
good.
Oh, well, I did okay. It wasn't as good as I wanted, but I'll get better next time. What did I learn? I didn't have that practice till now.
Until like yesterday.
Yeah, like this morning. Because
even though
I failed,
even though
I love and accept myself.
So,
but the truth is, if a little bit better tomorrow than yesterday is progress, it's okay. It's enough. You don't have to go from novice to master in a day. Like, where did that come from? I
don't know. It's so weird. I don't know where it came from, but we need to like chip away at that crap.
Shoo fly.
Okay, we probably should wrap it up because we've been here for almost an hour now.
Let's go. I love you. If this was easy, what would it look like? Ask yourself, if this was easy, what would it look like? If this was easy, what would it look like? If this was easy, what would it look like? And how good can it get?
And I'm going to encourage you guys, if you need support with anything that you're struggling with, Linda and I wrote both of our Calendly time schedules in the description. So if you want to get a session so we can talk through some of the stuff you're struggling with, we're happy to help you. Otherwise, please follow, like, share, and subscribe.
Do it right now so you don't forget.
Right now to any and all of our channels if you so desire, if they resonate with you. And if they don't, just keep on scrolling. Just keep on scrolling. Keep on scrolling.
Have a great night. We'll see you next Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday.
See you next week whenever we can get our shit together. Even though we are late.
Even though we don't show up every Tuesday, we love and accept ourselves.
We love and accept ourselves.
And we hope you love and accept us too.
I hope that you guys do continue to show up for us and love and accept us as we love and accept you. Good night, Dad. Good night. It's a little early, Dad. Dad's saying good night. Yes. Good night to you too. Anyone watching, well, good day. Maybe it's daytime for some people, or good night if you're going to sleep. If you're in Portugal, it might be bedtime right now. So for any of my Portuguese friends and family, boa noite. Passem bem a noite. In French, we're like trilingual here.
Yeah.
You're gonna say good night to your family in France.
French and English.
Yeah, there you go. Not. I don't know what my dad's saying. Not. Maybe he's just like, whatever you're doing, don't do that. You're embarrassing me. Stop. Just stop.
He's like, that's not the vibe.
Okay, here we are. I'm trying to get us to be 55 minutes exactly. Okay, so I'm literally like,
If you want to know anything angel numbers, talk to this girl right here.
I am slightly obsessed with angel numbers. But there you go. It's just something that I like to pass the time with. It's something that I like to find magic in.
We're going to count down like New Year's. We're going to make it a new day, like we're going to celebrate this 55. So we're going to count down from 50. Ready?
Okay, let's. It's
10,
6 p.m. It is good night, my mom says.
8,
Hold
7,
on. Do you see it?
6, 5,
5,
4,
4,
3,
3,
2,
2,